It's early summer, and you can tell because it's getting downright hot. Water temps are warming up, and the fish are getting more aggressive. And what's really cool about that is it makes it the perfect combination for pulling spinners. We've got the big boat back in the water this week. We're gonna head out on Mille Lacs Lake and show you how to catch them this week on the water. There he is. Got him. Well, you know, spinner fishing, I think is not only exciting, because when they hit like what you just saw. I mean, they don't mess around. I gotta get the net here. But the other thing is, I'm able to cover ground. And when you can cover ground, you can catch fish a lot faster. There we go, there's a good walleye to start. You can cover ground a lot faster than you can with a lot of presentations. And spinner fishing at this time of year really takes off because the fish are really aggressive. But one of the things I want to point out is how I fish a spinner and why I fish the spinners I do. Number one, I'm pulling bottom bouncers. And at the speed you want to go with a spinner, I'm somewhere in that neighborhood of 0.9, 0.8, somewhere in there all the way up to maybe 1.1, 1.2. An 1.5 ounce bottom bouncer is perfect because it keeps me at a 45-degree angle. So I can put that rod in the rod holder, I can just reach down and I can touch bottom, make sure I'm there, bring it up a couple cranks and put it back in the holder. Number two thing that's really, really important is the spinner that I'm using, and I want to show you why. I don't believe that there is a walleye in the world that chases around in the lake saying, I'm going to find me a night crawler to eat. I don't think that's what he's eating when he chases down a spinner. Let me show you what this spinner does. And I'll just lay that fish here for a second. This spinner right here actually emulates a bait fish. And what I think that night crawler is there, I think that night crawler is nothing more than the tail action of what he thinks is a bait fish. Now I'm fishing a golden shiner pattern here, but that's really emulating a perch, and that's what he's been chasing around eating. But the most important part is not just the blades, it's also the beads. And you can see that we have different bead patterns in every one of these Lindy spinners, and here's why we do it. It emulates the secondary colors of the bait fish. So golden shiner and perch are dynamite for what these fish are eating here. But let's say we were out on the Great Lakes, we'd want to go with a purple smelter and alewife, and we've got you covered no matter what pattern you're looking for or what bait fish, there's a Lindy spinner for it. I'm going to let this fish go really quick, and then we'll get our lines back in the water and get on another one. That's a great way to start right there. Oh yeah, got him. You know, the location that these fish are in right now, and you know, we're out here actually fishing early evening. The location these fish are in can be a little bit deceiving. They're all out off the edge still. I mean, I'm out 29 feet of water and I'm just north of a gravel bar. And the whole key right now is to recognize that these fish have all set up in their summertime locations. And that is out a little bit deeper, out off the edge. Let's get this fish in the boat and we'll talk a little bit more about where you're gonna get them. There you go. Got him. That's another great eye, but you know, the biggest thing you gotta remember is we've slid into that time of year now with the water temps really warming up, where these fish are into their summertime patterns. And that's not going to change now. They're not going to go back in. They're out here now until we get into that point of the year in August when they start going back into to end up on the rocks. So what you got to do is you got to come out here, you got to find deep structures. You look on top, and if they're up there, that's great. You can catch them up there. But if they're not, slide out off the edge like we've done here, because there's a lot of fish that are just going to slide out. And I'm not graphing a lot of fish out here, but there's lots of them out here, and it's just because they're scattered out here and there. That's why spinners are dynamite at this time of year, because I can actually put those out, cover a lot of ground. There you go. Another great Mille Lacs Lake guy. You know, the equipment you need for pulling spinners is actually really simple. A 7-foot rod is perfect, 7.5 foot medium action. I use a fast tip. What that means is the majority of the bend is gonna be in the tip. And you can actually run these things in the rod holders or you can hand hold them. You know, when the bite's like it is today, it's a little bit off and it seems like the fish are having to come up and chew their way up that night crawler. That's when I put them in the rod holders because there's no chance that I'm gonna pull it away from the fish. Now, if I was hand holding, when those fish bite, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll almost play a tug of war. I don't go back and just lay the rod tip back and let it go slack because that bottom bouncer doesn't slide on the line, so they'll feel the bottom bouncer then. But what I'll actually do is I'll go back with them and just kind of play a tug of war and put a little bit of pressure on them. And when I feel like they've been eating at it for 10, 15 seconds, then I'll simply set the hook. But at a night like tonight, when the bite's a little bit off, put them in the rod holders and let them chew their way right up to the top of the crawler. There he is. There we go. Got him. Well, you know, I'm looking at the week. And you know, oh yeah, look at that. We actually got a dinner fish out of this tonight too. You know, I'm looking at the week in front of us. And it really looks like all said and done, things are gonna finally get a little bit stable. So it's been storm after storm. I'll tell you, the lightning that came through here last night was just crazy. And I think that's part of what's got the bite a little slowed up. And you know, that's gonna happen. But the key to catching fish when it gets like that is to just really stay at it like we've been doing here. And, you know, pick an area, and when you see a fish on the graph, come back around. You know, this fish, I think this fish, we've probably graphed him about 3 times and we finally got him to bite. And I think a lot of times we get frustrated and we just pull off a spot. I'm gonna have to do a little work to get him unhooked, but you know what? He's gonna go on the live well anyway. The other thing I wanna throw out there is pull spinners, and I'll tell you why. These fish are all scattered out. They're only getting more aggressive, and they're going to continue to get more aggressive as the week wears on. So keep that in mind. The water temps are at 68 degrees right now. It looks like we're going to see mid 70s to high 70s all week. If the storms quit, we don't get any more of that cold rainwater dumped in here. You know what? The water temps are probably going to see 70, and they're just going to go crazy on spinners. You know what? We're not far away from crankbaits either. Boy, you know, when you're leaving those rods in the rod holders like that, you just gotta have patience. You know, you gotta let that fish actually eat his way up that spinner. And if you can do that, your hookup percentage is actually gonna be really high. You know, you feel like you need to hand hold, but I'll tell you what, rod holders catch a lot of fish. There's a good example of one right there. There you go. It's another great spinner fish. That's a great way to finish up the night. The sun's about to set. We're gonna get in, we're gonna clean the one we got. We're gonna head for home. It's a quick little trip up here tonight. Here we go. Boy, that was a great evening on the water. You know what the key was? We had to cover ground fast, and spinners allow you to do that. You know, we didn't get out there till about 6 o'clock, so I had to find the active fish as quick as I could, and spinners allow me to just keep moving. One other thing, I had to have the right colors. I had to look like a perch, and that's not just the blade, that's also the beads. Keep that in mind when you hit the water this week. Match the hatch and you'll catch more fish. For more current and up-to-date information, check back with us next week. I'm John Thielen. We'll catch you next time.